All right, so another kind of paid advertising that you could do would be direct mail. So if you have people's address, you could do direct mail where you're sending them postcards in the mail. But look, it's a matter of how you handle the process from when people get to your website. There is a process that you should be running on your business or your website intended to collect specific information to allow strategies to be implemented. So, for example, you're building a profile. You would want people to build a profile if they're registering on your website. So, a lot of websites, they are just sitting there statically where they are providing information to their users, but it's not interacting or attempting to collect any information whatsoever. So that's actually a really bad thing if you have a business. So look, let me talk about organic traffic next. So organic traffic, the way you can think about it, like I said, you build social media, you create content, and it's intended to make them go on your website. And once they are on your website, whether if they decide to opt in to give you their email or whatever other information that you might be requesting is kind of up to them. But the thing is, to increase more opt-ins, you could actually increase that on the basis of your design on your landing page, the message that you're conveying across to your users. So there's a combination of things that you could take into account in order to increase the likeliness that perhaps you would get more opt-ins for your product or service. So the way that I like to think about it is that you're building an audience with the intention of having them go on social media, then they go on your website where there will be a landing page waiting, requesting specific information, for example, an email, a phone number, or whatever you want to ask them of your users. So you're building a profile on number 4 intended to build follow up sequences with your users. And lastly, the information that you collect, number 5, it goes to something known as a CRM. The CRM is intended to help with data management, and it helps to automate the process to make it where you can have sequences of follow ups with users much easier, much faster. And what this means is that it increases the cycles of how you can be offering services or products to your users who opt in, of course. So that's kind of how you should think about it. Social media, website, landing page, you collect information, and then it goes to the CRM where you will have a strategy set in place to have sequences to follow up. For example, if you collect only emails and phone numbers, you could have a strategy set in place, for example, where you send sequences of emails. For example, you send one email on day one, three emails on day two, so on and so on, one text message on day one. So one text message on day three. So it's about the combinations and sequences of how you can use the data that you have collected on your landing page. So, how does paid advertisement work with organic advertisement? The way that you can think about it is like this: if you build a Facebook page and you pay for Facebook ads, that would be considered social PPC. So, social PPC, it's paid. So, Facebook ads, YouTube ads, whatever kind of social media, if they have an ad service, that would be considered social PPC. So another way that paid traffic correlates with organic traffic is that if you pay for SEO on a search engine, that will increase visits on your website. So you're kind of jumping a process in the funnel instead of going from a social media to your website to your landing page. Uh, SEO on a search engine like Google Ads, it's intended that they will search a specific phrase, and if your website happens to have the correct SEO, then people are going to check you out on your website. Once they are on your website, it is your design of your landing page, whether if they decide to opt in or not, and whether if you could have the possibility of following up with that specific person. All right, so email marketing ultimately stems down with the fact that you are collecting emails to have email marketing strategies set up in place. If you don't have any data collected, it is extremely difficult to follow up with users. All right, so look, email marketing comes down to having the right copy, which basically means the message that you're conveying across, the correct approach. So, emails, you could have very simple emails where you could just type it out in 5 minutes, or you could have fancy emails. So it comes down to having tests and trials where you're testing your audience to see what gets the most positive results. And how you can determine that is on the basis of opt-ins for specific products or services. So, for example, if you're posting a specific ad on Facebook and you see how many opt-ins you get from that specific ad, you could test different titles of the ads and different content for the ad itself. So that's what I mean by testing, trial and error process, and that's how you should be handling your online presence for that specific criteria. So, website SEO, email marketing, collecting emails, making use of that data, social media marketing, posting articles, posting pictures, posting videos, whatever is relevant to your topic on your page should be something that you should be posting. It doesn't matter if you actually wrote it for yourself. Like, for example, I've seen people on LinkedIn where they're not really writing any content whatsoever. They're just copying links and they're pasting it to make it appear as though, they're very busy people. And, maybe they are, and maybe I'm just wrong on that. It's just based on what I have seen, but you could implement that same concept where you could just literally Google for something, copy the link, and just paste it. All right, so make it relevant and make it very interesting for them. Otherwise, they will never opt in to your service. So, the way you should be thinking about it is that identify which platforms you're going to develop your strategy to get traffic. Identify what kind of content you want to make. So, for example, you want to decide what kind of videos you want to make, what kind of graphics you want to make, what kind of articles you want to post. So, that's just an example of what I mean. For social media, so for example, Facebook or Instagram, advertising, the campaigns come down to the fact that you have to design it correctly. You have to have the right content that will uh, correlate well with the specific audience that you selected. So on social PPC, you can specify specific audiences, meaning that if you're investing a specific amount of money, you will get your money's worth. It's not like, for example, if you have $100 and you invest it, for example, to put it on the newspaper as a newspaper ad, many kind of people will see, and the probabilities decrease because you might be thinking at it as more people are looking at it, so I'm increasing my probabilities that perhaps someone will be interested. But the thing is, that's not necessary because you can specify audiences with the internet, especially on social media marketing. So really important that you understand that you can be saving a lot of money if you just strategize and think of the way that you want to approach the process. All right, so social media engagements, it's intended to build likes, to build shares, for people to kind of help you spread the word. And if people are doing that for you, what does that mean? That means that is reducing the cost of paid advertising that you have to do. So think about it like that. The more content you provide, the more likeliness that people will like your page, the more popular you will become, the more your organic traffic will increase, and the more they will be led through your funnel to go on your website on the landing page and to see whether if people are interested in opting in. If they opt in, you got your foot in the door, and it's just a matter of you following up with them, having sequences set in place intended to increase opt ins. So, just some ideas that I'm going to throw out there. I'm gonna include this on the video. So Facebook Messenger campaigns. So just like specific uh, strategies within social medias. So I'm specifically talking about Facebook here. So I'm saying that you could build campaigns out of Facebook Messenger. As far as how, I don't want to talk about it on this video because it would take too long. So it's intended to create excitement, promotion, and engagement with your users. So please remember that the whole point of you doing this is because you are trying to increase your brand of your product or service. So remember, every single person on the internet could be a prospect. A prospect could be a potential client of yours. So remember, be informative, be engaging, build a brand, always be relevant, focus on being cost effective, and always try to understand what your audience wants and for you to put yourself in front of them. So once you are in front of them, it's a matter of allowing people to decide whether if they are interested or whether if they are not interested. So you could do custom social media pages. Uh, you could spend money on ads, or you could build your organic traffic. It's ultimately up to you. And I want to finish this video by saying that everything is trackable. So if you spend money on social media or ads, everything is trackable. So, for example, if you spend some money on social media PPC, for example, Facebook ads, you can track how many people are liking, how many people are checking you out, because the analytics is very easy to see, and you could see for yourself that it's actually working and it's not a waste of time. So really important that you understand the sources of how you can get traffic. If you're telling someone about your product or service, they will either go on social media and check you out, or they will go on your website and check you out. So remember, have a strategy set in place in order to help you increase more traffic on your website. All right, so if you have any questions, please let me know. All right.